Now, everybody will tell you that emotions are human. I will tell you that is a freaking lie. When I say freaking, I'm using a word that I would otherwise not use. See? But it's so dishonest. But people are now subject to what is now running around as emotion makes us human. No, emotions make us animals. Because animals react to each other, but not to the degree where it's dangerous to them. Animals have a reaction to a lion. A deer has a reaction to a mountain lion. It runs, it reacts, and it runs. And when the danger is over, the energy of stress that made it run fast and successful and not get eaten is made it a bit stronger animal, see? And so that's natural, that's an emotion. But the emotions go away. So when a lion, or in Africa, when a lion eats an impala, which is a deer-like animal, all the flock run. But then you look around and you see the lions eating the prey, and all the others are still munching the grass, still around. They're not afraid of the diet anymore. Not afraid anymore. But you see, it's natural for them to react because that's how they evolve. That's how they survive. That's how they pass their genes of what betterment is onto the next generation. Follow that? And that's what evolution is, but that's what devolution is for you.
It is incredible the amount of fear that I can see inside of myself that plays out, and it plays out in my mind. I didn't realize how important the meditation was until recently, how it really does work to clear the thoughts and to try to clear out.
You see, yeah, but jumping ahead a little bit.
Okay.
That's okay. That's a good observation. And I'm glad you shared with it. But I wanted to go much deeper than that.
Thank you.
And when I say deeper, I don't know, I think the word would be simpler. Simpler is deeper. And simpler and simpler and simpler until there's nothing. That's where you need to be. Because as long as you have emotions, good ones, so you think, and bad ones, which is okay too, because you're judgment. And then you feel okay and you project your problems onto somebody else. So that's a relief. So that is pleasant. And then it's painful because you're playing God. And justice is mine, saith the Lord, right? Judgment. You can't forgive and you can't judge. And because they both contain those emotions. The good feelings for having your people as a king love you and feel important. See, every feeling. Now, if you sit on a hot stove, you will feel your butt sizzling. So you have to have a feeling, because that's a natural feeling. But we're not talking about the natural feelings of being hurt, see? But I'm talking about the danger of adding to misery when a person breaks his leg or has a car crash and they're off into pieces. You need to be able to stay there, whether it's your son, your daughter, see, your baby. You cannot have emotion because you will kill the baby. You will make it worse. See, you will lessen its ability to survive.
But Roy, my children are outside playing right now. Huh? If one of them were to fall in the lake or something, I could see myself that I would panic and want to go try to revive them.
And what good would that do to you? It will paralyze you.
Okay.
If you jump in the lake, everything will be in the wrong way. You can't swim, but you'll jump in the lake and try to swim, and you both drown. The logic goes away.
Do you know, I see how silly this all is. I see how ridiculous it all is. And I also see that sometimes I get a little upset that this darn stuff won't go away either.
Well,
So
if you get upset, it goes away. Excuse me. When you get upset because it doesn't go away, you're making it worse. You're getting angry with yourself.
yes, it's ridiculous.
It's like I said, it's nothing. You got to go down to zero. No zero feelings. Because you think that your feelings, the energy that comes from you and goes to other people, you're playing God. But you can also play a double God. When you have feelings towards a person, you can make them feel better, but then also ungrateful, because they will feel a relationship to you that should never exist. I don't speak Spanish, but there's two words. I think it's two words because I haven't said it for a long time and I may not get it right. So a person is drowning and the person picks him out of the water. He just reaches down and picks him up, otherwise he would have died. He didn't do such a lot. And he says, gracias. And the other person says, de nada.
Right.
I like those two things.
It's beautiful.
I like the way it says. I don't think you have an equivalent in English like that. But it picked it out. And that's all it is. No, it's not a big deal. So when you visit your sick parents and your cancerous parents, and it doesn't matter. Everybody who's sick is being deprived of energy by somebody. See? And fulfilled by somebody else.
So, Roy, I've often wondered.
They're turning around and doing it and taking it from you.
I've wondered if subconsciously.
If you don't do that, you get tired.
Right.
And you get angry with your tiredness, and then you got more energy, but it's the wrong energy. You're an animal.
And I wondered if my sicknesses have come on because I want to feel like a victim.
Me, I've got a little bit of a cold.
Of course. If I wanted to feel like a victim and for people to somehow feel sorry for me and give me attention, or if it stemmed from that as well, I could just be.
Say it again.
Sometimes I've wondered also if subconsciously, like these sicknesses that I have right now, it's tinnitus, it's just.
The tinnitus, what's the feeling?
The feeling is this ringing, a constant ringing in the ear.
Oh, that's nothing. It goes away when your emotions go away. Your body language can't speak. Your body doesn't know how to speak, so you have body language. You have body language if you are an angry person. You have body language with your intent. I can read the body language, but you can't. See? And if I bring it to your attention that it is such and such, you may get offended. Or you may take kindly to it and say, I see that, and the problem's from. Your body language, I watch the audience. I hear how you say a word. I just watch. I'm looking at you, and you're giving out energy. I don't give out energy that is. My energy isn't hypnotic. My energy is healing. My energy is healing because I'm not sorry for you. You're independent of me. You're not going to be codependent, because if I'm sorry for you, I'm involved. It's a dangerous thing. I'm trying to get my wife here not to look for me, something from me. She's always unconsciously looking. I'm the greatest person that ever lived. She loves me. She sees that I'm a good husband, a good father. And yet still she wants something from me. I don't want to give her something. I just want to not give her something. which is, I have to bring it back just a little because it's not the something she needs. So by not giving her the something she wants, there is something, see, because, let me say it again, because it's not easy to say, so you'll excuse me. But I am the agent of something, but I'm not the originator of that something. That is an entirely different thing. So you have to be a change agent. And Jesus says, why call me good? There is none good but God. Doesn't that cover the waterfront?
Yes.
Okay.
Roy, it took me a long time to see that. It's not you.
Oh, no, it's not.
I understand
Yes.
that clearly now. You allow it to speak through you, and for that, many people have been helped. So thank you. And remember last time you were saying, I think it was last Sunday, if you were to take credit for it, you'd be dead.
I mean, yes, I'd lose all that was gifted to me. All. Immediately. I'd fall into some hell. And I know it. Do you have the book? What's it now? Hypnotic States of America? You need to get a copy of that book. Because I just found out yesterday, I had written something when I was 24. And it was just a little thoughtfulness about life. And I found it in the book. I don't read my own books. But when it was published, a piece of paper with something on it, it was just my thoughts when I was 22, 23, about my feelings. And you need to get a copy of it because it all came true. And so I opened it last night. I'm taking good stuff from some books and putting it in Facebook.
Good.
And I came across that. It was 2-3 pages of it, but it was done in poetic lines, spaces between them, you know. It was just a few pages of just a few words. And every one of those things came true. I was wondering about something, and you really need to read that.
Okay.
My wife thinks it was beautiful. So, but it pointed out to me as a young man, I was different from other people, and I didn't know why. And it goes on to say those things. So we're back to you now. I don't have a feeling for anybody. The only time I had a feeling was when my father died. When my mother died, I had felt nothing. And the feeling was a longing for his presence. But then when he wasn't there, the longing went to what made him a father. And I became a father. Because the Father within him is the Father in me.
Do you know where I believe you, and I trust that which is in you. I do trust that.
I trust that.
I do
That's
too.
why you can feel. That's why you. I'm giving you something that was given me.
Yeah.
So I have as much as you need. But if you give of yourself, you get depleted and tired, and then you start to get angry and upset to get the energy to function, and it only makes you an animal in conflict with your human. See how simple that is?
It is.
It always comes down to simplicity. Everybody understanding? Nobody not? I know, I can see her crying, Anne, don't worry. I'm going to be crying in a minute.
I'm
I
crying.
almost had a little cry when I read my own stuff. I said, it came true.
But Roy, I'm crying because it's so beautiful. It really is so beautiful. beautiful. That's why.
It's beautiful to recognize it, isn't
Yes, it is.
It validates what you had when you were a baby. Is that right? Unless you become as a little child, you can no more enter the kingdom of God, right? That's what we're doing here. We're bringing you back. In other words, you've always had it, but you got tangled in it, and then it got corrupted. That's all. You never were guilty of anything. The guilt was put in you the day you were born, practically.
And thank you for not feeling sorry for people. Because of that, people have been helped, including myself. Thank you.
Are you married? Are you married?
Yes.
Yes, you are. I can't remember because I have to tell you, I have a terrible memory of people's names and faces.
I don't even know how you can remember half your
I
own
can't.
kids' names.
I can't. I look at most people, if I just let out a secret or two, the reason why people forget people's names, unless they're really special, like Reagan. See, I can remember that. He was special. Yes, and like Jesus is special, you can't forget him. But most people are telephone poles with names on them, and so there's no difference.
I am married and I have 3 children.
Yeah, I forgot. See how
Yes.
quickly I forgot? You're a telephone pole.
Yes. And because
I
of
was
your,
just talking to them.
you were just talking to them. Because of your message, I didn't get married until I came to a couple of your seminars. Then I married. So, and he's a good man.
I'm glad for you.
He has his
But you
issues
still have that little problem, and you tend to project on your husband.
and everybody else in the
Yes.
world.
My wife does it to me. 64 years. How are you going to live like that?
I'm still kicking.
That which does not kill you only
She's
make you
still
stronger,
looking.
huh?
Is that what you're saying?
That which does not kill you only makes you
Did you
stronger.
say you're still looking?
No, why
Kicking.
would I look?
I didn't understand. Well, what did you say?
Aim
Just,
for the top.
what did you say just now?
I think she said, and she's still kicking.
Oh, she's
Yeah,
still
that's
kicking.
right.
Okay.
I'm still kicking.
Well, I'm still kicking, and you know where. So who's next? Everybody's healthy? Go home.
I think they just get tired of speaking every week.
Okay. Any
So-
more?
The tinnitus will go away once I give up my emotions.
Yes. It will. You know what? They give illnesses. I'll be back in a minute. Just a second. They give people bills. The doctors give names of illnesses like bipolar. I say they're up the polar. Because all they are those extremes of those extremes of energy that you give out or you get. You're inflicted with it. And you inflict others with it. See?
You know, I went in to get my ears checked, and the doctor ran in and said, "Oh, you have nerve damage." And I said, "Okay." And then he said, "Well, so in a year you'll be back possibly getting hearing aids because you'll have hearing loss." I thought, oh my gosh, if I were to sit there and accept that, I would believe it.
Well,
I mean-
here's how you handle it. Oh, that's interesting.
Okay, okay. And that's
But
what
you
I
see,
did.
The minute,
Yeah.
oh, immediately you got a feeling.
Okay,
Immediately you got thoughts.
yes,
And the feelings support the thoughts. No feelings, no thoughts.
okay,
Watch the feelings. And then watch the thoughts. First the feelings, then the thoughts. Or if you have thoughts and there's nothing there to put those thoughts into your head, like the example I just gave. You just look at the thoughts. Because first of all, you look at the feelings
right, okay,
and where it's coming from. And that's in the moment. And so if you can learn not to take compliments. See, if you give me a compliment, you did so about in the opening of Salvo, you gave me a nice thing to say. I didn't have a feeling, I just said thank you. I'm happy, and then the word happy is not good. Because there's no words in this world for anything. So I have to use words that are not all of what I'm trying to say. But there's a happiness and there is a freedom. But the freedom from what? The freedom from wrong, reacting to the world, into the freedom that takes away that slavery to the world and gives you his presence as freedom. Freedom from wrong to do right. But you can't react to wrong and at the same time give your loyalty to God. Can't do it. He wants you, all of you. And it takes your whole life to give all of you, doesn't it?
It does.
And you giving all of yourself to your dying people,
Yeah.
and you feel obligated, or you feel important, or you feel like if you didn't go and visit them, that they will be angry with you, and you're functioning out of guilt, you're functioning out of pressure, and the guilt is the pressure that is equivalent to faith. It's, in other words, you feel doubt, you feel guilty for not giving your mother and be treating her and going to see her, see, because you don't really want to go, she's a bitch, see? But the point is the bitch that creates the complex, so that you, whatever thought you have, I want to go, I don't want to go, I want to go, I don't want to go. And then if you don't go, you feel guilty, but then you take it out on somebody else. It's never ending. But you've got to drop the immediate reaction to the immediate moment. So there's nothing there at all. I have to do, see, I have a cold.
Just on the table
This is not very well orchestrated, but it's the way it should be, natural.
You helped me with my father incredibly. He died. He would have died homeless.
Who?
My father. He would have died homeless.
What's that again?
You helped me incredibly with my father.
What's that word you used?
Homeless.
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 I was thinking of a disease called homeless.
There probably is one.
What? I didn't understand what you meant by that.
So you helped me with my relationship with my father. He was so treacherous.
Oh, I see.
And he would have
So
died
you
homeless.
became homeless that way.
Well, he would have. He would have died homeless. I helped him die with dignity.
How you use the words. See.
Yes, I helped him.
So you felt obligated to save him.
Exactly. To a point.
But you can't do it. It'd take all your life.
Okay.
You cannot. If somebody's going to die, they will. However, one kind of love will help to kill. Maybe it doesn't kill, but doesn't help. Follow that?
Yes.
It doesn't necessarily kill, but it aids and abets in the process of dying. And so if your kid falls and breaks his leg and he's bleeding, the way to do this is calm. Do it fast, do it quick, they'll be okay, and no feeling. Because if you have a feeling, it adds to the fear of the child and robs him of courage.
So I have a son that is going to be entering public school.
Don't.
And he's signed
Stop.
up and ready to go.
Keep them out of the school. You know what they do to them. You'll lose them. Homeschool.
I have been.
That's it. And
I have been.
It's not so difficult. Find out what their interests are and provide it.
The two are homeschooled. He wants to go in.
He wants to go to school?
Yeah, but the older one, he wants to start high school in the public school system.
High school? How old is he?
14.
He's 14.
He's 14.
Well, if you want to lose him to the whores,
They are.
that's all you get. That's high school. That's all it's there.
That's
There's
it.
nothing else there but sex.
Mm-hmm.
Every kid wants to go to school, high school. That's what it's for. You're not learning anymore. I got bored with school. I couldn't learn anything in school. Nothing. They taught me history, 1066. What's this? The Battle of Hastings. That's all I remember. Well, I didn't like history. I love history now. It's the stories. They have value. We never got taught that. You just have to just remember the dates. Crazy.
Yeah.
Now, in my books I speak about knowledge. The knowledge of good is bad. Knowledge of good. It seems like it's kind of screwball, isn't it? When it says the knowledge of good. You must not partake of it, therefore it's bad. Right?
Yes.
Now you can have a mingling of knowledge. I have that, which is balanced with my intuition. So if you speak to me about something in class or as an authority, I have no authority. I just listen to what you have to say. And if I can recognize it, it's mine. I don't have to remember it. It's in my memory. I don't have to push it into my memory. I can just agree with it. Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you. Now you got both. But if you go to school and it's all that, it's brainwashing. And there are some words for that.
Indoctrination?
No. Yes, it's indoctrination, but it's all knowledge and no common sense. Mm-hmm. Knowledge wipes out common sense. And especially pressure. To get your degree, to go do this, and to do whatever. I will not allow myself to be brainwashed. Not as a kid, so I'm an idiot and don't know what I'm doing. But my father died, it's just in time to get me out of that school. I wasn't learning anything anyway. And then there was no income. So I became an apprentice of my uncle's factory and earned $3 a week, equivalent. Not much. But that made me a man. And when I like a Cadbury's, I like a chocolate candy, I can look at that, cost 5 cents, equivalent. I can do without that. That is good for me. The fact that I didn't have anything and had small amounts of money and discretion whether I should spend it or not. I looked at the Cadbury bar, which is still my favorite, in the manner of speaking. But I don't take it for obvious reasons. But the principle, and that principle, see, now look, I keep telling everybody, you see that car outside, that Mercedes? I gave that to my wife for the 40th anniversary. I'm 64 years. She has that car for 24 years. We're still using it. I got other cars that gifted to me. That's it. But I'm always wise. I can have the best that anybody can have, but I feel uncomfortable with the best. See, I don't need the best. And so not needing the best and not being like everybody else, I accumulated money. When I accumulated money, thoughts that came to me to do this or that were possible. I didn't have to ask anybody. I had the money because I didn't eat the Cadbury bar, and that is where it starts. The suit I'm wearing is 40 years old. I've shrunk a little bit into it, but it still looks all right. There's no need for this. I'm dressed nicely. I have good underwear. That's the only thing ever changes.
Thank you for telling everybody
It's not 40 years old.
Wait a minute. Grow up.
Well, Anne, that's not necessary.
I can't believe you said that.
I'm not going to bring you with next time.
I may not want to come with.
All right. So, but am I following things?
Yes.
So, I don't know where we're going from here. I think, yes. You had a question, did you?
Yeah, she was talking about tendinitis. She was talking about tendinitis. I have it, and it comes and goes, and after a
Well,
while.
it comes and goes depending upon your attitude.
Yeah, and what it is if I
It's
work.
really not a big deal.
No.
But it can become a big deal if you don't heed the warning.
Well, what you got to look for things that trigger it. And what I noticed is when I'm working, I work too hard, and then the next morning it's just I can hear it's
And
pronounced.
that little
But
whistle in there is just giving you a warning.
yeah, it's telling me slow down, give your body a rest, and it goes away. And I have it right now, but I don't notice it. It doesn't. It's like it's not there because I can hear still okay, but I'm around loud noises all the time, chainsaws and all that stuff. So
Yes.
it's part of it in the stress,
But no,
physical
but not-
stress.
That's part of it. What is relevant is what you just said.
What's driving
prior to
me?
that.
It's
What's driving you.
What's driving me, and
It's
that's
not
what
just the
I'm,
noise, but then the
No.
noises of it begin to have an overpowering effect.
Yeah.
Unnecessary. See
okay,
that?
okay. I forgot about that.
For example,
Yeah.
For example, if you listen to me and you like what I say
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and you see it and you do it, you're free. But if I see the problem you got, but I don't give you an answer in a proper way, I'm like the saws and the hammers and the noises.
Yeah.
I become a noise,
Yeah.
and it gets inside you. Mm-hmm. See, so I can do it in the same way as the chainsaw.
Yeah, it'd be like a memory that wouldn't go away.
Yes.
Yeah.
The same. Everything starts to do it to you.
Sure,
That's
yeah.
post-traumatic stress disorder.
Well, that's
You understand? Post-traumatic stress disorder is all the things in the battleground.
well, the post-traumatic stress disorder is what's behind what's driving me, not what I'm doing or what the environment I'm in. It's actually the thing that's pushing me to go beyond where I should.
Yes, but yes, but then you're encountering an experience of a deletion of your energies.
Yeah.
See,
I guess
and
I'm
you've
not sure.
become very, very open to other things.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you drive yourself, your energy
Remember, I
level down.
said since I brought up the post-traumatic stress disorder, you take a person and he has frustration with his mother and father and situation, and he wants to go out. But most of the people who go to fight to go war are not going to fight to go for war for the love of their country. They want to be able to take the They want to go out and fight the enemy because they want to kill something. They just could look for it. You can see it in the movies. It's part of the script. They're just willing, just think they are Supermen and they can take their frustration. That's what people do. So our own soldiers do that. But they're not barbarians like the people they meet, the soldiers of the other side. There are soldiers of the other side that are purposely demoralized to be as vicious and as dangerous and as murderous and to enjoy it. On this side, we are sort of semi-civilized. Not all the way. You're semi. What did I say?
Civilized.
Civilized, yes. Because you are civilized in a sense, your behavior. And your behavior, you want to be the behavior, but it's not perfect enough. You're still vulnerable in that behavior. But you need to have the behavior where you're not vulnerable. And that's how a person needs to be, how soldiers need to be sort of helped. Almost the word programmed came in my mind. But to deprogram means to find salvation in the barracks, in the places where you get your training. You need to have learned to overcome the overcomer because the overcomer is very, very dangerous. You may have overcomers around you. All we do is we're born into overcomers who overcome us. And it's everywhere, especially a little kid coming into the world. And the teachers and the kids, see, and the bullies. It's everywhere. It stinks with it, but not like in Hitler Germany. Not when you go into Borneo and you have to fight the cannibals and the ISIS. See, they are not civilized. We are semi-civilized. But we live in a country where this semi-civilization, which is imperfection, was what they are allowed to come to the surface. We are allowed to live that way for a while because the freedoms of our Constitution allow us to do wrong things and then the laws are such that it restricts the cruelties that people put upon you and gives you a place where you can actually live in freedom, even though the freedom was taken away from you. So it doesn't matter. You're no longer subject to the Constitution. The Constitution applies to the bad person, and he gets punished. And so, and you, I can't say that. What I'm trying to say is the cannibal has no freedom. You're born a cannibal, and the cannibal baby is taught you have to eat 2 people a week, or else you're going to go to cannibal hell. See? And so the baby comes into the world, has to eat people. I'm not saying they do that. I'm just using that as an example. So there are no real people. There's only a cannibal king. And the cannibal king is like our president. See? Evil. See, but this is a different kind of seductive evil, like a woman would have over a man. See? And so that will be your environment. And that will be your environment, whatever it is that makes them your master, is your reactions and your feelings. But the point is, once you understand yourself, and you begin to realize that you're being demoralized and degraded, and the bully's nature is beginning to take shape in you, and pretty soon you're standing in their shoes if it's parents. And then, but other people take over where your parents leave off because they're doing the same things, and they opt in, and they take a little piece of you again. See that? So the tendency is to be addicted to bullies. Psychopaths. There's another word.
Sociopaths?
Yeah, sociopaths. But then the person who is demoralized. Psychotic. That's right. So the psychotic is in love with the psychopath or the sociopath, one that's sweet and nice. And the other one is like the Silence of the Lambs. Remember the movie? What was the name? Hannibal Lecter. Yeah, that's a psychopath, killer. Sociopath is like your mother. And she's to do no wrong. She's just like God. And you give yourself to her, okay? And then there's nothing left of you except her approval. And that approval is God-like. But you have hate-love relationship, but you never reveal your hate. You always feel guilty in love. And the more you love her, the more powerful she becomes. And the more powerful he becomes. And so, what was that word just now I used? It sociopath? No, the person. Psychotic. I don't know why I forgot that, but I write a lot about it. Sometimes I forget it. The psychopath is addicted. nearly everybody in the country, everybody in the world to some degree, is addicted to that which has given them their identity. So your identity is living, what you think of as your identity is really the identity of the other person passing down to you, so he dies and you take his place. Or you look for someone like him so you can keep giving yourself because you feel insecure and your anxiety catches up with you. Because if you don't have someone to be kind to you or cruel to you, so you can feel secure with him. He will see all there's the word I've lost again. Psychotic. Mm-hmm. The psychotic is addicted to the psychopath. The psychopath, the sociopath, either one. They are addicted and it cannot live without it. They cannot have a sense of existence. And so what's happening is if something happens to them, they fall apart. But on the other side, if he's found out and everybody walks, he falls apart. Don't give him anything, he falls apart. Don't give Obama anything, he'll fall apart. Well, you're giving him your power. You won't speak up to him. And he's got you how? Or how he's got you? It's called political correctness. It's not correct. How dare you call yourself American and be politically correct? And so dare not speak up when you have the right to speak to the president any way you want. He works for you and you don't work for him. Correct? And that's when when the masses become demoralized enough, they will pick a psychopath, a sociopath to run them. Goodbye, America. And that's what I've been trying to say all these years. But they can't listen to me because there's so many sociopaths and psychopaths, you know. And again, what's that word again? Psychotic. Yes. I'm getting old. Well, I know it when I hear it.
Can I tell you a story? I had my dog got a bone, and he got a bone stuck in his throat.
Oh dear.
And my wife called me
Did
over.
you try to suck it out?
This is my story now.
Because you really got a problem. I'll find you kissing that dog.
Anyway, my wife was in a panic about this, and
She loves the dog too much.
yeah. So I went over and I put my hand down his throat and got the bone, and I couldn't get it out of his mouth, and he bit down and he got the bone stuck crosswise in his teeth.
Sounds like me.
I couldn't pull it out with my fingers, so I had to go get a pair of pliers and
We weren't going with this.
and pull this bone out. But I watched the dog afterwards, and the dog was just as calm and afterwards as he was before. There was no trauma in him.
But your wife had the trauma.
Yes, yes, that's right. They were, her and her sister were.
Hold it there for a second. A lady has a small child, and the child got a grape stuck in her throat, and she panicked. And in that panic, she said, "Oh, I wish it was for me. She wanted to take the place of it. I want to die." So, but she's helping the child. She's saying this to herself in a panic. Now, 10 years later, she has all kinds of problems, and all kinds of problems is really the same thing as Christmas, which was the time that happened. On a certain day, she starts to feel a choking in the throat. That's how bad it is. See? And she's morbid and unhappy. She doesn't understand. She gets upset with it. Memories of a child. But she forgets the memory of the child. She is the child. She's choking. She doesn't know why she's choking. Your emotions can be so powerful as, one second.
Okay.
One second.
All right.
I had one man who has been reacting so badly that the only thing he could see was the other side of hell. And he's running down the street, a black gentleman, with no clothes on, see, and pulling his eyes out, see. And they had to hose him down and put him in jail. And he listened to my program, it came on one day. And then he saw quickly what it was, but he's only got one eye. Because he thought it was real. He thought all the things. I was in hospital once, and they gave me some kind of, what kind of drug that gives you?
Morphine.
Morphine. I never had morphine. But guess what? It opened the doors of hell. Mm-hmm. And so when I closed my eyes, I could see a real person. And I can tell you why it's a real person, because I can see the zits on his nose. Yeah. And so when I closed my eyes and opened again, the zits are in the same place. It wasn't imagination. I was actually seeing a person. I'd never seen that person before. He was just looking at me. And then the scene changed. I had to have my two sons hold my arms to keep me awake. But when I opened my eyes, I could see where I was in the hospital. When I closed my eyes, I was somewhere else completely. I see myself floating over the moon. I could actually see it. You've got to be careful. Drugs. No way. I'd just sooner have the pain, thank you. Okay? And where am I going with that? I forgot. Your story was the dog.
About
story was
how
dog.
the dog was not, after choking, he had no traumatic.
I'll give you another story. We have a rabbit, and it broke its leg. And it was dragging the leg behind it, like he didn't know it was there, munching away afterwards. See? They are not panicky like we are. They don't have faith, and they don't need faith. They can't do anything wrong. See, they don't have intuition. They don't have any direct relationship with God. They're the product of God. Those are his toys, if you might put it that way. He's the artist. You see, but the animals can't say, "Oh Lord, how wonderful you've made this." You know how an artist, he doesn't paint for himself. He paints for others. And so he enjoys doing that, so long as someone also appreciates it. You can say God is the painter, creator. He made all these things for us to appreciate. And who appreciates him the way Jesus does and the way I do? I see that. I love science, but my science isn't their science. My science starts with, in the beginning, there was nothing. And darkness on the face of the deep. I get that. Years and years pass, and I start to write. And I start to write that in terms of language, which is very close to in the beginning. There was a beginning. There had to be a beginner. You can't have a beginning without a beginner. The void can't talk to itself and say, let's make something. But the void was important. He says the void, which is not gravity, it's colder than gravity. And the reason I'm not trying to teach you physics, but I'm going to make a point of observation right in the beginning of the Bible. The very first thing it says, in the beginning, there was the void. Void means nothing. In physics, there's no such thing as cold. It's the absence of heat. See that? So, if you have a furnace, you can melt metal and you can make cars, but the furnace won't make the cars. And so in the beginning, there was the void, but you need energy. And he said, let there be light, the singularity, what the physicists call the singularity they've never seen, or the Big Bang. That little thing that's so small, the whole universe came from it. See? But it didn't. It did and it didn't. They don't understand how anything was made. They don't know what gravity is. They don't know if it's a push or a push. They don't know what it is. They just know they can measure it. It has a mathematical value, which is good, valuable. But I still don't know what it is. I know. Why do I know? Because I have intuition. So if I'm going to learn what they don't know, and believe what they don't know, and say there's no beginning or beginner, there is a beginning, but it's already begun. Where did that they got a singularity that's infinitely hot. And what infinitely means there's no end. So it's a source of something in the whole universe. It's a source of energy. So the energy, but in order to have, I've got to make a point here, and it's relevant, but also scientific. It's observational. In this universe, in this wonderful Emerald Island, see, everything is there that is similar to how it is in the beginning. In other words, there's always something that you could say, well, there's something in the universe that reminds you of how God made the universe. Like a lake flowing into the ocean. If you take the ocean away, which is the void equivalent, if there was no ocean there, then the lake cannot provide the river to flow as energy into the ocean forever, and the ocean providing, of course, rain to keep the lake going, but the river is a length of energy flowing. What if? Have us think. What if the void was indispensable to the creation? That no creation could come about if there wasn't absolutely nothing to flow into forever. The forever nothing and the forever something flowing into it. But if it wasn't there, it couldn't flow anywhere. If you stop the Niagara Falls, somewhere down the street, you don't get any energy. It's got to always flow, forever and ever. Can you imagine that energy flowing from ever and ever? But then, from there, I can show you how things work, how the first gravity came into existence, how the first particles spin from it, like a little spinning eddy, little eddy spinning, and the eddy spinning in the water is moving, but the the flow of gravity is so fast it curves around that little spin, and that little curve is time, and it defines matter. Bing, And it begins there. Now, that is a fair, I can go on, I read a whole book. But it's not me that wrote it. It was given me to see. See that, what it says in the beginning? They knew it, but they couldn't express it. There was no science, or little of it. Who understands me? But see, I don't have to go to school. If I went to school, I'd learn science all wrong. So now I have to go, now if I wait for a while, I believe that science will be turned completely upside down. See, the average person, scientists, they know what to do with the stuff, but they only know how to play with the stuff. They don't know what the beginning is all about, and that's the most beautiful part. And when you know what the beginning is about, you got 0, 1, and then you got 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 2 is 4, etc. And then you got math. But you got to start with 0. The void. It's something beyond the void that makes 1. Gravity. Flowing into the void forever. And then things happen. It's in my book. Don't get too bored then. No, what I'm trying to say, does that make sense to you? A little bit of sense. It's like a river flowing forever. And then from that river, you got fish and all kinds of things in it, which wouldn't exist if it wasn't flowing. See? It's got to flow. It doesn't start with stuff. Stuff can't say, the void can't say, I want to be stuff. It has to come from some other place. Otherwise, it's just a void. There's intelligence in that the beginning, let there be light. There's intelligence in their energy. It contains the seed of everything. Everything. Then you got life. That's a different system. That's the difference. Then that's where God comes in. We are created differently from the animals, but we then are now the customer of our artist. We can appreciate what he's made for us. See that? Instead of play, and he gives us a choice. You want to see him, or you want to see yourself as God? Then you've got the beginning, Adam and Eve. See that? And then God, listen, this is a Christian moment, if you don't mind me saying so. But he takes the stuff, the mud, and breathes his life into it. Then you have to ask, what is life? That's even more. The life of everything, billions of different kinds of creatures. Only one creature is capable of appreciating it and enjoying it and loving it. You see where I'm going with this? It's endless. And the purpose of it, the first man is never going to live forever. When God makes the first man, and he takes a part of him and calls it Eve, he knew that the dark forces, this is now a little bit of religion here, the dark forces that fought in wherever outside the universe was, they fell to the earth and they became jealous of man because he has a body. In other words, the spirits of darkness hate men because men is the architecture. Men is the architecture, the basic architecture, the foundation of something that will become children of God eventually. But you can't make a man take the ground and make another man and make another man, and then expect that person and compel that person to be like an animal. Meaning, animals can't recognize God. They're not there for. They eat each other. They have a different system, right? But in order to make children of God, where God wanted to make children of God, there was obviously some war in heaven that caused many of the angels to fall to earth. And so, where do you get evil? It comes through the generations of Adam and Eve. Therefore, because you've done this thing, dust thou art, and dust thou shalt become. See? And therefore, so a man leave his mother and father and be joined to the woman and become one flesh. Now, here we come now to where you are here. So, if he made a man and he does the same mistake all over again and dies because you have done this thing, death, you die. You could have eaten of the tree of eternal life. It was there for you. If he made one after the other, he can make 1 billion of them and give them the choice. They always make the same mistakes. So only one human being makes the mistakes. And therefore, instead of man becoming from the ground with his own hands and creating an image of himself, he only made one man sin, let him sin. He wasn't able to deal with the cleverness of the spirits that lurked in the shadows. See, and the shadows got into Eve and got into Adam. And therefore God comes along and says, did you eat of the fruit like he didn't know? And he says, he makes an excuse. Eve made me do it, so to speak. That's what little children do, don't they? You catch them doing something, and there it is. And it goes from the woman to the man. It goes through the woman, and the man is awakened. He sees that he's like an animal, and he reproduces like an animal, but he isn't. He's half animal and half human. But the other half is to come in the way he lives his life. So now, the first family, Cain kills Abel. That's how quickly it happens. So the spread to human race. So you are born, but you're born for a purpose. And that purpose cannot be filled by the first man. But the first man is essential because the first man leads to the birth, the fact that he becomes human, semi-human, semi-spiritual, meaning, I can't find the words for it, but the first man was doomed to be thrown out of the garden. Couldn't have, not because he was doomed, only because he wasn't smart, knowledgeable. He only had the intuition of God to say, do not eat of that fruit. You have a choice. And God knew exactly what would happen every time to all of them. And so, man born of woman. Now what's happened, he has sex with his daughter. That's what it really is. See? That happens often in America, doesn't it? See? But that was all there was. There are other creatures on earth, maybe people like, but this is a special thing within that framework. See? And so the journey of this, you have to have trials and tribulations because you come into the world with intuition. But you come into the world, and the nature of Adam, the failure of Adam to say no, put the fruit down, Eve has a habit of not putting that fruit down. So man born of woman, though, is born of woman, and there's something missing in him, And because he does not know how to deal with the woman, the spirit, the Eve aspect of every woman brings the man down. And the suffering continues. In other words, they still go on making children. But some children begin to see, not all, they are born with intuition. But the intuition can be overcome by the parent and the surroundings. We were talking about that today. But here's a lady here who was born into sin, but she loved that intuition that she didn't know she had, that separated her from all the other human beings not like her, like me, okay? And there's lots of like me's out there, and they don't know what they got. That's what I said in my little poetry. I didn't know what I had. I was different. But I made some more remarks that you'll read if you like to read that book. And so what we have now is a real choice. See, we have the means, we have the history, and we are born of woman, so man born of woman, what does it mean? It means it's upside down. There's something missing. Because when you get married or you have relationships, the women will always win. They will always act, even ISIS, the women always win. Let me put it this way. A woman wants a man to say no to her. Put the fruit down, in the manner of speaking. Men do not understand that. And if they do understand it, they still don't understand. How can I say this? The Jewish people were the first who got the idea of integrity, spiritual integrity, and virtuous. But there's always the Ten Commandments. That's not good enough. Jesus comes along eventually and says, at all these people suffering, and you've got all the psychopaths, the sociopaths running everything, in Judaism as well as it was Caesar and Rome. They were all controlled by small numbers of powerful people, see, controlling millions of people like Hitler did with Germany. So, in those days, there were people like myself, but they got persecuted and murdered and tortured. Fast forward to America. We're not the same country as everybody else. We're becoming the same country as everybody else because it's beginning to be infected. But I'm trying to say is that Christianity and Judaism was the beginning of that there's an idea of one God and no longer idols. Worship, you got to worship something. Remember, you need to worship as a psychopath. And yes, what's the other one now? Psychotic. The psychotic needs the body. He needs the evil to make his sense of worth something, but it's worthless. But they're addicted to that, addicted to the dark side of the force. And so many people live that way, and they cannot get out of it. And if you want to get out of it, you still can't do it. And if you get out of it, then you've got all these people surrounding you because you're the enemy of good, and you don't even know it. Why? So I try to find so many different ways to say that I can make a sort of midget or small example of a child coming into a family, and the father is a bully, the mother is a wimp, or vice versa, and they have 5 children, and all of them are subject, crazy, going to jail, or being rewarded for being loyal to the brutal mother, to the brutal father, while one kid sits outside and he does not get anything. The mother and father, the word is encourage. They give them the best. And anyway, see if I can take it from the child's point of view. The child says, why do my parents treat my siblings? Not that he knows how to use that word. Why does he sees it without words, that why are my brothers and sisters, why do they like them? Because they're subservient to the parent, psychopathic parent, see, or sociopathic parent. And this one is different, and the parents kind of recognize that that child is not one of him. The children recognize the psychosociopathic nature of the parents, and therefore reward them as a psychopath does to the victim, gives him power, or degrades him. And the person who's degraded tries harder to please, damned if he gets it, damned if he doesn't, kind of thing. And so the child that sees that doesn't resent it, but wonders, why doesn't my father love me? Why do my siblings try to hurt me, right? But in his mind, that's the good thought. Why? Why is evil being rewarded and him be outcast? That is do you understand what I'm saying? So why, it makes him different from, that little thing makes him different because he asked the question.
There's a saying in the Bible.
Yeah. Yes.
There's a saying in the Bible that says the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel.
What was that?
The tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. In other words, the love that you receive, the love that you receive, that phony love is just as damaging as the destructive love.
That's right.
And it cripples.
Man had a purpose. You said that he had the purpose. What is man's purpose?
Purpose is to find purpose. Two kinds of purposes. One you want and one you get.
I wanted to answer that because it was on one of Manuel McLittle's lectures, and he said it so perfectly. He said, the purpose of life is to allow yourself to be found by and bonded to your conscience.
Yes, that's correct. That is the shrunken version of it. It doesn't say how you get there.
No.
I've spent a lot of time saying that man has to suffer. But he's suffering now with an intuition, because Adam was born with an intuition. But then he lost the paradise that was promised if he would just obey and tell the woman to put the fruit down. And when the woman came to him with a whisper in her ear, and who said to her, well, you know, I think that fruit is perfectly good. Maybe God wants to see if he has courage to stand up to him to be a man. I mean, there's some kind of thing in her that was either innocent or corrupt, because she stood further away. Adam had it, and he knew what to do. He had the constitution, the spiritual constitution in here. And because you've listened to your wife, dust thou art, and till dust that you shall become. We were intended for eternal life. So only one man is guilty. Then came the other words, through one man's sin and death through sin spread through the human race, like a virus. So you're catching the virus. You're not guilty. You're not guilty for that sickness, but you became to the world subject to the world. And men born of women are subject to the women because their fathers fail them. The fathers fail them, but the whole human race is that way. Men do not know what it is, except every now and then there's a prophet. And the final prophet, it still wasn't profitable enough. There had to be a savior. There had to be someone who was in direct relationship with God, is totally believable. That's important. It's okay for hearsay. It's here for the Ten Commandments and the others and all the different things, but it's not good enough. There has to be a perfection. And there are those who find that way. You don't hear much about them. But most of them do get murdered for their perfection. They stand out amongst the crowd. You got to be very careful where you go in many countries, because see a little glint in your eye, they kill you. See, or they start to want to stab you in many different ways. And even when you come into the world, you're that way. You came into that world that way. She came into the world that way. You all came into the world that way, and you lost it. But here, you're finding it again. Because here's a man that's talking what your head is saying to you, and validating it, but not giving it to you. Validation is important. I have to be the living example of that for that to mean something. I can't just give you the words. I have to be there has to be the unspoken word of intuition in the heart of that person. And so it's not him that is your authority, it's him within him that is involved here. And so therefore, once you have retrieved what all other people tend to lose, because all psychotics, psychopaths, and
Psychotics.
Good thing you gave.
psychotics are addicted to the psychopaths and the sociopaths. They're addicted. They can't get out. And they may not want to get out. You have armies of them, see? Hitler understood how to create a whole army of them and kill the ones that, the Jews, they wouldn't go for that. He wanted to kill them, right? And he actually was jealous of them. In his writings, he said he was. One second, he said, one second, there a second. So I'm almost forgetting what I'm about to say. But once you have grasped this, then you now learn you are living from your intuition and not living from your conditioning. And living from within doesn't have the feelings, the emotional feelings that create other demoralized people. It's a system. You're doing unto others what was done unto you. They turn around and do it to somebody else. He says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, but there's no would have. See, because you're born into the would have, those who don't have it. And they don't like you for having it. And they tend to poison you, in a sense, with their cruelties. It's like a spiritual poison. But once the poison in you is not the same as the poison in other people who love the poison. They think that's good stuff. It gives them a sense of worth. It's worthless, and more worthless it is, the more they want to feel worth, which is worthless. But they don't know any other way after a while, and they're dead. See, so we have a chance of living forever. This tree of life is still there. And now, our journey, having been redeemed from Adam's sin, we are redeemed. I see it now. I'm not supposed to respond, react. I see, but I don't know how not to react. And God says, without words, I'll show you how to do it. It's called the light. And so I come along and I said, what do I do? I said, nothing. Be still and you will know it. Because if you keep trying to do something, you're saving yourself. If you keep trying to do something, you want other people to help you to find yourself. It's not possible. I'm only just all lives bearing witness to what you already know. And then you don't need me anymore. You can come and have a conversation every Sunday, nice. But I'm helping you to get to that place where you don't need me. I'm your dad. This is Dad's day, see? And so, if you see it, I free you. It's important for you to free your children as they get old enough to be responsible for themselves and not to put your will in them, which we all do. That's the trouble. See, that's the problem. Generation to generation. Will. Will not. But then you've got to be careful how you say that, because it's just rebellion. That's another side of the problem. It's the other side of the problem. So now you can actually be refreshed. You have a new energy. It's not like the stress energy that you function with. It's like you don't know you have it. It's almost like it is that. You go through life, nothing upsets you. It's inconvenient, it's dangerous, it's whatever it is that would destroy another person, and you don't notice it. How else can I do it? That's all you see. Where's the energy? I don't know. It seems to be there somewhere. I want to make it so simple. But if you stay with that, you're beginning to realize a new kind of spiritual growth, a spiritual insight that's very similar to what you look like. Otherwise, you have a dark one, a black one, and you sense it's all you've got, and you want to keep it because it's something, but it's an awful something. And the longer you live, the more awful it is. And the more powerful it is to take you away from ever seeing anything again. And therefore, you just by attrition, you die by attrition, right? I would not want it to be that way with you. See? I'm an educated person, but not from a high school, and not from a high school. I just said high school, didn't I? College, yes. Nothing. I have learned, given knowledge, how can I say it? Anyway, you can say something. Yeah. It's hard to explain that I'm 88 and I've survived everything other people would have died from. And I learned from it. I never cried. I never complained. When I got a new heart and it grew back, that's interesting. But there was no feeling. See? When you have no feelings, there is something that's tantamount to feeling, but it isn't felt. If it's felt, it lifts you. But what's coming through you, it lifts your ego. It gives you a sense of worth. It gives you a sense of existence. But a person who is existing as he should doesn't need all that. See? It's easy. Life is easy. Even if you're tortured, it's just, you just to feel the pain, and then on the other side, do you understand how Jesus did everything he could to make everything as worse as it could possibly be for a person, and still not hate? Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. That's the attitude. That doesn't mean to say you've got to forgive everybody. No, it's not the forgiveness that is the name of it. But what it is that you have something in you that has been forgiven. It's redemption from the system that started with Adam. And so finally, you're the prodigal son, and he greets you halfway. And then then everything happens differently. You're no longer in the mud, in the pigsty, and saying to yourself, my father's servants are better than this. See this? And so what starts to grow inside you as you get older is another self that is much more beautiful than your mortal one. It will be lasting forever, which makes you the child of God. That's the only way he can make the child of God, is put us all through this and see which flesh would turn into spirit. See? And give it a choice. Adam had a choice, but now we're making a choice out of something, not giving a choice into something. See the difference? That's beautiful. And the other people keep multiplying and producing every now and then a number of people who are children of God, and all the others die.
So I'm a little concerned I'm going to turn the conversation maybe in a weird spot, but I think it comes back to exactly what you're saying. There was an article maybe 2 or 3 days ago in the Wall Street Journal, and it talked about how the federal government is arming all of the agencies, the IRS, the Veterans Affairs, the EPA. And my first thought when I read that was, wow. And the second thought is, what good does it do for them to have all these guns? How are they going to get the employees to actually pick up the guns and use them? But I can see what you're saying with the psychotic and the psychopath and how we've all become
You're getting there.
ingrained into that sort of a system that maybe they have a lot more power over people's actions than a normal person would see.
Right on. Now, we've got the problem in this country of those who would do exactly what the psychopaths would say and be loyal. On the other hand, there are people like me and you that are different. And there's going to be a civil war. I keep telling you, it's right there.
It's scary that they're actually pushing the guns into these agencies, that they actually think they're going to get a number of people to be able to pick up the guns and use them.
No, the people who have none, don't have him so much. People who have him are the people that he's let in to the country. He lets he lets everybody in. He's setting us up to fail. And of course, there are so many psychopathic people in this country, psychopathic people, that they are dependent upon the bully, the sociopath, the psychopath. Obama is a sociopath. He's sweet, seductive like a woman. See? He's still a psychopath, sociopath. A psychopath is Hannibal Lecter. He'll eat your liver. See? Otherwise, he'll kill you. And he walks away, and you're all dead, suffering. You never catch him.
I always am kind of thinking maybe they're just pushing the guns into these agencies so they're there and they can just transfer them right out to whoever they want when they need
I'm
them.
not quite sure what you're saying.
Okay, yeah, it's okay. You would have to have read the article, so.
Yeah, so I don't fully understand. But they certainly don't want you to have guns because of the heinous things they... Do you know, I'll finish the discussion. Last evening, I was watching on the TV on the political things. I can't remember the name of that special. There's two of them where it's always on all day long, where you get all the political news and the cameras are always on the Congress and things like that. There's a name of that.
Fox News?
C-SPAN, yeah.
Huh?
C-SPAN.
C-SPAN.
Yeah, that's right. So 7 Republicans got up and they took 2 minutes each, and each one of them said that the government is inventing, appointing people to invent all kinds of laws which aren't lawful and making our lives miserable. And so it's been going on for a long, long time, And we are now going to be standing up to get those rights back for you. And everyone stood up and explained it to all the different fractions of all the different laws they made, which are not laws. But they have the power of law, see, and makes your life miserable because you can't tell. But they've been watching all the time. And but it was so clever. My son Mark, he caught it. I want to share this with you. If I can, I don't have the sophistication in politics to say these things. But each one of those Republicans said, we're going to get it back. But Mark says, we're going to get this back and we're going to undo it all. But they forgot they've been doing it, allowing it for all that time. You don't have to get back anything. You don't have to start to have to get together and make laws to get it back. No, you already have it, he says. What the hell's wrong with that? They give it to cover up. They made that thing to cover up, to show how that they're standing up for us, but they haven't been standing up. They're covering it up, because sooner or later it's going to be they're going to be found out, because the whole world. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, it's illegal. It's what you're doing.
They allowed the illegal. They allowed the illegal.
Yeah,
They went along with it. That's the reason why we're a mess we're in.
It should.
And now Donald Trump. But I can't say it.
Yeah. It's,
But now we got somebody who may do something about it, and they're all scared
yeah.
because he sees it too.
It's a bad contract that was pushed
So
on
the
us.
left, the right, are just as bad as the left. It's just they're all their own country. Yeah.
Yeah, the lady up front there, what she was saying is that the agencies, various government agencies, are being given guns. In my opinion, what I see is the purpose of those guns is not so that they are there to protect us. Those guns are there.
Oh yes.
Those guns are there to protect them from people who might come in and want to kill
Well,
them. That's all.
I don't think you
right.
came, but I know what you mean.
Yes.
I know what you mean. No, they want to take away your guns because they want to finish the job. See, that's right. And they're frightened because Americans are beginning to wake up. They're really beginning to wake up, and they've chosen their champion, and they're beginning to awaken. And you don't want, and they have the guns already. So, the second commandment, the second. Second commandment. Amendment. Amendment. Yeah. The Second Amendment is important because it preserves the first one, which is the freedom of speech. You have to have that because the first thing it'll do is take you down, not to speak, and not to speak is not to be able to do anything. See, is to be paralyzed.
Okay, so I agree with what was said, except for one point. I think the guns are being pushed into the agencies, not just for their protection, but for use against citizens, because
Of
there's
course,
too many
of course.
guns going into the agencies for just their protection.
Oh, yes. So you wonder if the agencies have been carefully culled out, meaning you've got all the psychopaths and the psychotics.
Yeah. I just want to make.
But the psychotics will fight against the God's people. That's it. They'll fight. And the Americans who think they're communists or murderers, thinking they're Americans.
Yes.
They actually think of themselves and looking at us as something wrong, because looking good people, bad people looking at good people are uncomfortable. The shining is disturbing. I was just wondering whether they're going to come for me or not. So who knows?
All the
I'll stand at the door loaded.
Yeah, you lost your gun.
all the Constitution is a pair of handcuffs for the government. That's what it was designed for.
What was that?
All the Constitution is a pair of
Keep the
handcuffs.
government at bay.
A pair of handcuffs for the government.
Correct.
Yeah.
Can I just?
Yes. Now you're getting to the world, you understand better.
Yeah. I just wanted to throw in that the Soviet Union had a better constitution than us during the whole time the
and it still
communists
didn't work.
ruled. Yeah, so having it doesn't,
Just having it doesn't mean that you've got to preserve it. And that's why you need guns. Because you're dealing with some bad people. See, thank you very much. God bless you. I hope I wasn't too roving too far over the different subjects. They all connect, I think. See, it's not just, stop reacting. It's not. It's more to it than that. It's something about life, magic.
you have to find God in order to stop reacting.
Yes, yes. He's looking for you anyway. He's waiting. He just waits, so you can volunteer. That's what you want. Thank you. Oh yes, look at that. Would you like me to read it? I have to find it first.
I marked it.
Oh, you did mark it?
It's a white piece of paper.
Oh, is it there?
White piece of paper.
Huh?
There's a tab.
Look at the end.
Oh, I see.
Of the book.
I see. I didn't see that. Oh, here it is. Would you like me to read it? Men's lives are made up of many traumas, and the memories of those traumas are that form their thoughts. And the spirit of that existence is their God. And the fading soul is imprisoned in a rising mist of thought, chained to all the compulsions of the flesh until death releases them to damnation. And now I know why I cannot remember my childhood or my youth, or even yesterday, because thanks be to God, I am made in understanding stuff, like a flower is made from sunlight, part earth, part heaven, and the Holy Spirit has hidden himself within me and pulled around him the elements of my being. To this moment, at least, I cannot remember any trespass against me. And now I know deeply what God means when he says, forgive and forget those who sin against us. Then he forgives our trespass also. And so as I die to the world, my memories fade, and as knowledge passes away, so does guilt and sin. In the ever-present, I am becoming absent-minded, and in that I cannot remember like other men do. I cannot learn as others learn. The willfulness and mindfulness of this present world are passing away as new knowledge, understanding comes. I am forgetting now, and remembering who I was, so knowledge dies, so I die daily. And as knowledge and sin die, death is consumed in victory. For in rejecting the tree of knowledge, I leave behind sin and life of sin that ends in death. And so shall this mortal put on immortality, and the corruptible become incorruptible, and the perishable become imperishable. I see you all from afar, as looking through a glass, struggling like vipers in a pit of slime. And though I am in the world, I am not of the world, not in your world. And there is a great chasm between us, and you cannot come across to touch me where I am now. For as Adam forgot truth in knowledge and died through mortality, so shall I live forgetting knowledge and remembering truth eternally. There I see the tree of everlasting life. I wrote that 23, 24 years old and put it in a piece of paper somewhere and then lost it. But it came in I didn't know it was in there. So somebody put it in when they...
What's the page number?
Oh,
It's easy to find.
it is, I don't know where it is now.
It's a Pope's first.
You'll find it. You'll find it. It's in big letters. You can't just go like that. You'll see it.
I get it.
Well, see, I knew these are not my words. This is poetry. I'm not a poet. See, so I have difficulty with words. You see, I knew I would have difficulty with words. But still, I can express myself. I used to be more glib, you know. But still, I'm deep. And so I don't need as many words. It's almost like just I have to be a being that stands in front of you, and that's enough. If there's anything in you, it stirs. Except for you, of course.
Yeah, my father says to me, why do you want to marry a Jew? I said, what's that got to do with anything? I said, he's the best man I know. He was actually jealous. He was actually jealous. That's right.
So she not married a Jew.
That's right. Exactly right.
Thank you.